Mame fa say ma PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV there osia dem yopo.
Special event we be see o Pabla head to ni bebom. Okay. Because now we can yesim udisi ay betwa. Oh yes. Woto. We week there ya mama for fire. Ya be mama for hu say you see watch. Sir. Na asemuntra. Na omo munimi ani di omo nimi. Yo. Good. It's no you pese abie nkrofo ani kakra bi woni ema bi. Kiti say na chiro mo ati wa no. Kiti swa bi na de be chiro mo. Mo na for ma kon man watum. Titia. Yes. Mo. Yes. Mo ya trip bi ana. Oh, there be we can na vice uni Ghana. Vice president uni Ghana. Because any many be koso a. Amount for feel say yeah. Omo di omo nkwa so. Yo. Eji aban no. Ko e bread juices and nkrofo ni so no. Kwabena aso. Yeah, show many munyam. As I buy the man any burn no. Lovely. We can't wait till 2028. Kwabena I said back and really Democrat Eddie Abba. What's Godfred Yeboah Damina Sabe nanu them anorisu kai. Edomosia. Godfred Yeboah Damin. The immediate past Attorney General Minister for Justice. Thank you. Also when we say Ghana temu mprempren atemuafo ni bi. Asa tentene ne ya wo so wode adwuma mfa nya adwuma nso atentia yo ena titiri no so atemuafo ne mfa tentene ne nya adwuma ana wo ni say sa Godfred Dami na kan sa asem no yo ena wo mubu former Attorney General they are not timid case call awia 1 na 3 ya free case no yo no wo media asem yo your ba na so the ni kra ni brief case no ono na kan sa asem we no me ntia ora Richard Japa Attorney General no na kan sa asem we former Attorney General yo eti also wonu se titiri nsusu no sa nsem na enkote mfa ma wono eti am bibifo sa nkrofo ebi munti na ese nyankopon oba ntem no yeah because omo no as omo ni na hwekwa akire eni na tu animu enkwa animu be hwekwa akire ono na ebe ka sa asem we akire no so the abuser ono ne penso na omo abuse the judicial system no enwe ya no ne refi ne ho oh I refi and then some oba be kan ye say unanimous FC all right enye no ono no ye e case bia no ba na ora Richard Dapa be ka kire yen say ofra no kan so ko court dem wo ko kika nse manya no kware ne enya fate no no anya e the same person ya mo ene o say ene de debi no unu say atentia ba wonim NDC for na ama sa ne ma we abaso kwabena me ne we adwene say NDC for eyi ayonko grona e da omo ne MPP for ni bi ntem na free ho a because grassroots no nya no mo hwe o on say grassroots no idea nyina ne said obi a ono ne be say o man ne de sa wo nya kwanya sa oba be di o man ne so a eni so okrokro no dabi but because the perception around politics they say politicians are all the same. You scratch my back, I scratch your back. And no niama you huni nei no. Say ente sa and NDC for me who say am penny am power me do o mine so. This time on na mo bi no in charge. 1 year 4 months into the research, are you still in charge? Or is the opposition in charge? No, go for you adam enya no e be ka kire yin say wait. All right. This time you been mutuem unnecessary in some ninam sa ni aden ne me ni ye nkrofo bi ayi no mu ne udwene ho a won ti ase Dabi ne ka bi edi bi wo ahemfie ni sa ne ma asem edi ni wo court ni enkoka na ahemfie Dabi yantumi mfra court asem wo ahemfie bia mu hwekwan a wo mu de ne ho ne ekoka sa asem no hwekwan a Godfred Yeboah Dami odi atofo sin fa so you see Ujedi kai sanka this time Godfred Yeboah Dami no mu ta wa be man ka this time atofo so on prison oh yes kaba na won jeli ni di na wow etenu ani ye frɛ ora na ani ye nya djuma operation recover all loot no we are not just saying ye sika ni fi won say na sen ko ma yere omumu a ankanya ne say nei no still minority ni opposition for ni bi etumi nya no trying to find faults with appointees of this government can you imagine baby a tokuro na kra no person me ya can you imagine and 1 year 4 months ni omo try every means possible so omo betumi find fault can you omo dey asami dem feel go God recently on person me MPR so it tells you say omo temu so omo person omo nya one fault and then my no mo de cassette aban we na omo nya kwabena te wan sana be kono good body aban foforo di aba ebua ye man sika se megene no enu bi na wo ye won adwini sanko wo be good for oil na nsusu no na wo me yende no wa pesa ngodi esika kokono eko eye safe haven bia ye nim aka ye nya ho fa so bara bank fufu aba no hu ni say ye the gold board ni ba enu mo ba bua me ye nya foreign sika no ababu ya sika sem eti oru asami demfi oye lawyer ne onim mra onim chichai so no wotumi manage gold board ye manene ma akoso ye dia maye eti o pesa funny fault no wonya ya you don't play with these people
so advice am the appointees no and especially Sami Jamfini say onhwe ni media ayonko grow ye pa media no agro no ni bi mudi no onhwe ni hu ye wo ho because ebi mo no ene ne srekwa
yo
wo mo be sheda afrefre wad wo beto asemu ne so oni ho akotie wachi
nsem wo beka wo
wachi asemu ma kwati awa do ni Sami Jamfini fa sa message we man no me say onhwe ni media agro die mu ye simple
ana wo mu
eno ano no
wo mu ni ofiefo ni nyankita hudi mu
appointee a hwe wo ni media agro die mu ye ye simple
eti wo mu hwe
kasa bebre
no mu do ofiefo
o asopa fatie
ni asunsum na gra
e ka cha safo no
kwabna mi di besi cover di abu ama won kokko
to say violent week on
na to
week na sa prophecy
che violent na ko ba bia o yo sofo no anya ni meyi a e bi be ka yo
o jani so a wa
na kasa wo beba
afena governor no acha se e pacho
sa
say nya no kre governor na acha se e pacho say nya no kre all right
wanya message oni ebi so ba ha my imagine say minka
me saka message no
any woman ni
nya no kre we will expose the governor and let him know say we are on top of that information
kwabna
we have the information right here. Give unto Caesar what is due unto Caesar. Now fi asumdwiaba. Because when you shine from Homer, it gives you that confidence to step out.
But that's it.
What you say?
Equal rights and justice.
Jamaica in the building. Equal rights and justice.
And justice. Give what belongs to Caesar to Caesar.
Of course.
What belongs to Aya.
So I man every time because I say ni pani brain. Or safata bibia. And chairman ne mohunwa. And chairman ni nwi ensu ohun. And san workers hey we cry some here no there be. Munim what is right. Munim what you have to do.
Lovely.
Said there be a peace will reign.
Mo
simplicity. What is here? Because akura to us when yakwa shebata Crïes no so the betna ha. One hand some more bekano. And some more bekano.
Yo yati we create a violence and
of course
yeah the way ashase
what you say
the way amwo and to almost we mu kakrakra
the governor of the Bank of Ghana
Johnson Esiama
owo
only Ghana
is he an appointee of this government or an appointee of this government aban we buy no ye the governor all right only governor of the Bank of Ghana or an appointee of this government
of John Mahama's government
into Oye Juma to support this government and now Oye Juma etia ban we
only Ghana sisia
na Juma na Oye no
kwabena
Oye se o de be boa ban na ma ban na ko nanim na so Oye se o de be bra ban we aso
free US buy baby sano
sure into US
or US
I know why they call US no
enu nya sem bisa no
all right
kwabena ma
all right
any kind no
all right
equal rights
and justice and oni mo ye adwuma no e ma nne o sa ho kwan ne de
ko
governor ni mo ye adwuma no ma ya enne o sa ho kwan ne de
kwabena tia so
o ya we
kwabena tia so
of among for sweat and toil
70
or no governor of the Bank of Ghana no
75
onya sa high office no kwatena ye
80
all right
kwabena tia so
all right so any appointee at all
85
aban we am adwuma no 90 so we na say wuni aban we ho do a just surrender
lovely
na ka say adwuma no ntumi nya bio
enyina 100 ho
ye pam chow
100
ye mpesi e benya obi ho asem aka na afi e ba be yes ne ba ne sen momra dabi
100
munim ne ye
mo
enti munya ne ye na obi anya na somdue what you say
a word
to the wise
is in osu
all right abeso with them ha
the Rastafarian benu Asia na ye nye dreadlocks ye nimi ye kasa wo ho enti equal rights and justice
that's all
mo tititia
omo ya aware of this information no omo feedback omo dey by so be home a na dey need actually na chese
kwabena na nye easy
sound
yo so nipa no bwe na no kra no kasa nkeye but also kwabena extend nipa na bodua
sa
yo
so bia ho a
shie etendiabo
wow
sanka nipa no bwe na no mo no ka chew sabi akra kwabena na desmo ne wa
ye ni ntia
ye far better than better say kwabena enye
I see
enye
so mun kan check governor of the Bank of Ghana say
ene kwabena edi ba ko ni u fra mi okoto ana mi ya na isa asem aba asem wo ho
okay
u ka okoto na say na isa asem wo akiri enti ebi anen enti governor
say obia na chesa asem wo ho
ensempii we
governor of the Bank of Ghana NDC for sweats any omo toil and I didn't cut now that office all right information will chroma na all right Chassis Audit so na come me
na me fa Ghanaian Times say and Joda anope Ghanaian Times enim ha no Ghanaian Times enim ha no asema ode aba enen or say at fourth in defense of democracy summit VIP calls for urgent global financial reforms. Her Excellency Professor Nana Jenopo Kwajiman or your Ghana man pendinga bedi chirmino Erica say no or war a Spain magno emo and then him se bia bribia to turn akwa besanga bepe no kopiem ewo wiase fa na nyinara a defense of democracy summit ejumedi ase ewo Spain abrochi magno emo and all your friend akọ amasa wiase fa na nyina kwanga ye fa so ye disikasem nhihye no e wo se ye nsachara wom na ntimi mu a obi biara Her Excellency Professor Nana Jenopo Kwajiman for need Ghanaian Times enim ha be mu sebra okodu ye no na brofo no won mana kwaba e wo ho no e wo summit na se e wo Spain abrochimang na Barcelona na adwumadi no ekoso e wo ho no yi ankasa na mehwe sania na de titiru ne nintiri ekoi bright no twetwetwamfoni na kwabna na de ne ye kama na no pay Ghanaian Times du hama ne bo aba okratefeto so du ebien asemfufra na no pay eye Ghanaian Times ede aban o se President Mahama sought for 24-hour market in northern region say bedigwa e wo titiru ye gwa so emia benya kwenya donhwere edronu anangitem no eye de say His Excellency John Dramani Mahama oye Commander in Chief of the Ghana Armed Forces many Erica San was ordinary akobo from waya mani amamra ye bifiase na ingesi 24-hour market no ewo ehonom Ghanaian Times munsem mame fesia Minko Daily Graphic now boarding Ghana's most authoritative news on the truth and accuracy every day. Also, EMP unveils Daman development plan.
What's your say?
Airports, roads, health facilities among blueprint for the enclave.
Yes, I queen a copper down or Daman home.
Na Kwabra.
I want your baby weekend.
Yo,
Daman hot dear.
Kwabra.
They say no dear, a baby the new you deal. Yo, and to see a copper single room be on out there. You can do anya fly call. Yeah.
Mimi abia yatiti. Our class media group.
Yeah.
CTV.
All right.
Yatiti no mukoi.
Okay.
Rafik Mahama mi medi no hu yawo.
Yeah.
Na muri koda manga.
What you say?
My friend Crofo mo Africa so go team
Busa Ella Sam komo be nam nindi over the weekend.
I didn't know mo Africa yen.
Busa Ella Sam komo be nam nindi over the weekend.
Man kobi. Ebe den.
What you say?
You call enveli EMP fo wonga dwumedi a wori ba bedi woda man na yanko mi manko wo yen ye bebo amane ye no yen ye kansem no yen ye twerɛw kasebo no yen ye kura yen wo enti se mukɔ ba bi sa na mo amfra ya na ise na Rafik Mahama ise na wanye ne ye bra afi wei mi say wiki violence enti violence na ye dire nam no
what you say
e fa bengu be fa ni fa
yeah because muntimi nkonkɔ ye handing over no ho
na mu
fra yen you know
so yet ya
omo ko bi ni de obi ho no board na so nti okɔ in that capacity
yeah
but if you are calling the media
fra yen
see me carry the story
yen ye be carry ni yen
you can't ignore XYZ broadcasting because from day one san komo we sha ase no yen ye an extensive coverage we engaged a committee chairman Elijah Collins Dauda
sir
we've engaged a mineral mining experts
sir
minerals commission
sir
the lands and natural resources ministry
yo
enti de na ya no person omo ye edigu EMP animu ase
me nyina ye twetwam
what you say
ye be ye ntam ginafo
what you say
ye be ye Yesu Kristo
thank you
ye be wuje EMP
Come on, man.
Kasem no.
What you say?
Near Convelia.
What you say?
Rafik Mahama.
Where you from?
Yankobi.
Debbie.
Mankobi Kwaberan Kobi.
Debbie.
Yankobi Wofia.
Debbie.
And Jabani Deng.
Ebani Deng.
Deng Nabai.
And that crowd, we are still in that mind.
So
yeah, and then we'll continue to do an engagement.
So
na ye bia manfo ani.
Yo.
Amoma hu say e ye ni yemu, e ye ni sayemu.
Debbie.
What you say? Your cancer pano.
I know Audit Sempano.
Your cancer pano.
Audit Sempano.
Your cancer pano.
Audit Sempano.
Thank you, Akra Kofida.
Me da say. It is Ibrahim Hama Okasai. No say obesi wemshen jinabia. Akona horo wo be ya ma wo. Ene ayaresabia wo benya e wo mpotem ho no. E ya dipa.
Thank you.
Me support 100% because a Ghanaian own a
business.
And ye ho. Ghana funsu yenya sa kwenya na. E begwa ye dia yenya ni sa ye Ghana ni.
Thank you.
Obefa Ghana fo adwumam. Engineers ni nyina dodo no ye Ghana fo. Ye ni won ya dwene wo munya ni sa na mua Ghana fo na businesses no enkoso.
Yeah.
Mom Rafik Mahama bribi se no.
Ye hwehwe no.
Hwe yenga ni
Rafik Mahama I wanted on.
Mo
ye hwehwe no XYZ.
Ye hwehwe no Rafik ye.
Yeah. Yo. The information bia be kan sa.
Lovely.
Enti so no a place a call.
Mate.
Na ya man say information.
Lovely. Yeah,
no.
Baba Ibrahim so ya manache.
Yeah, doctor.
Mo se ne wa ya no nin no. Ye ne eje. Ye ne eje. Ne mom ne ayere kan ni se yesi ba ko no. Ohun. Eya na XYZ Broadcasting Limited. Free ye so mo lovely. What's your pass? I'm going to use Christ. I'm going to from him. From
the call, Ubi
lovely.
And one. Yeah.
Come on, I'm interested in daily graphic.
Come on,
Edrianu Edies, page 53. No. Ghana Commercial Bank Limited. Me know Erica said no kabna. If you shall pori enum echini. One to 265 million dividend at the Ama Bank. Nanka bribia besin ko no bank nyina wontimi nyina wonanso what the air Professor Joshua Labi
good
and akoye board chair e wo GCB PLC and no won etimi abo modern bank le gina ni nanso it is kadodo won anya mfaso a won anya ntino what say efempodi won ani kire e bibrim atoye mantem na efe bibi man nyina se wo bue branches e wo ho na etimi abo ama aye bank na etimi egina ni nanso asemfu fra na no page daily graphic dia ba wo page aye 13
come on
what say Association of Ghana Industries throw weight behind customs AI valuation system but demands 48-hour dispute resolution. Oh, sir, AM system yi. What's it? Kamia se nema bin sheda tutu yen fama unto be ka good afford your friend by say yen tumi nyansa kire wa nampo se yen free ho. Na eno na AGI fo. Industries ahoro won ka bom ku no. E de ofra ba ka so wo de support na mbom sa nema nkitinkiti na nkoye no. Don hwere eduonu a wo twemtem. Yen hwe se betumi eyi edi efri ho. Daily graphic amane boni bia ode aba anai. Mami ko Daily Post mu. Daily Post number Yeboah or the about say President Mahama applauds rapid progress on Tamale Teaching Hospital Cardiology Center project.
Good.
His Excellency John Dramani Mahama obefi etifidu mantem aba ankrangne na okoye no reset agenda to no okoye ni bi no na okoye no okohwe say Tamale biaya o she bosi ye besi asoye bi asabi wo ye nuanom won anya akomayare e wo tifidu mon tempotem e na din sector ye betumi ahwe won ni campaign bre no emu no eno na oguso aworisi e na okopiem wo se na dwumadi no ekono ho Harris no na neje ho yie papa mfoni no e wo anim ha wo Daily Post anim ha isem na kasa wo kratafeto so ebiesa esia ne fe akron na asemfufo na no pe Daily Post e de aba no atefu factory
sorry
o se nyina hini bauxite nyina hini chief calls for fair chance for indigenous companies. Ose nyina hini popro won potemo. Ose yenhwe se sa won eye denchebo ewo won potemo na osu ye fa magudi ni bi no. Yenhwe se nyimeku ahuru a eye omanga na dehye no ne yemfa ma won na wo mumom entumi hwe se betumi aboa na enema be konsuye e de ama we san se ojedi se ne a akoso wo da man ye yenganya Ghana ni a okura sa okukura anaso kwa kotu fa magudi ewo ho no ebetumi aboa entenu ni nsema na no pei Daily Post nso ede amanebo no aba ewo enim ha ne fikratafa etoso akron ehonom mami ko chronicle mo bro susam da obokrata no all the foreign investors to take over Nyinahini bauxite ayasem and oribisa or say stakeholders push back against alleged move or say stakeholders bit na medical kaka mo asem no entenusu ewo Brisu Sender Bokrata no emu. Mahama promotes 90 senior police officers. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama on police administration. So police fu makuma could do akron amuya seniors no younger boy about to me apomoti woman nano pay a chronicle abo amane. Daily Democrat Otistan Dogbe Hills non-traditional export players and also is us earning hit $5.01 billion from 3.83 billion in 2024. And also one man about him say opening on the deputy chief of staff in charge of operations Rastan who has said Dogbe.
What's your say?
You were highly non-traditional exporter and also a Jumedi Basso nano Fidan and Daily Democrat Eddie Hu Amanebo Aba NPRA dismantles NPP falsehood as scandal hunt force flat.
What's your say?
James National Pensions Regulatory Authority for and I know na NPP for didn't he said then now one is corruption big caucus and now NPRA for the Nkata say Abachem says I am not worried no quarantine so biara enim a brain yedi ejuma entino military breno major mudia mount
for efficient waste management services in the various districts. And so that was a basis. Later on they came out with a new contract, but that contract was signed at the end of the year 2024. And so we cannot just say that the basis of our audit is wrong. I mean, this has been an issue that have been reoccurring even in our past audits. And to help them and to help all of us, they asked them to focus on the waste management services, which now in the new contract, they have tried to do that so that the issue about these equipment not being supplied and damage will not come up again.
So, Mr. Zumla, you can't pick and choose. Journalists are saying they provided in their reports that moving forward, focus on just the waste management and leave out the provisions of the bins and the trucks. And based on that, in the new contract, you don't find it in there, I suppose.
Honorable Chair, that's what.
No, I'm asking. So, in the new contract, do you still provide bins and trucks for refuse collections, please?
We use the containers and trucks as our tools of trade, as always.
So it is still in there.
We use them to do the work, but
no, I'm talking about the provision of these things to the assembly. Is it in the new contract?
No, it's not in the new contract.
So clearly, you have listened to what the auditors, the recommendations the auditors gave, and that's reflected in your new contract. So then you cannot say that they are, yes, this, the, whatever, 744, the infractions that you've been cited for, one is based on a wrong contract. You cannot in any way state that here, because they said that this was the contract that was given to them prior to you signing on the new contract. The new contract was signed somewhere in November, but then in the agreement, you stated that it should take effect from January. So as at the time they were having this, the audit, it was that contract. And these are issues that have come up in previous years that they have pointed it out to you. So respectfully, you cannot say that they based their report on a wrong agreement. That we will not take.
Honorable Chair, respectfully, contract has a beginning date and an end date. The beginning date and end date is well spelled out in the 2019 contract. Clause, the first sentence in the contract, page 3, has the effective date, which is 3rd of January 2024.
With respect, Madam Chair. Say, when was the contract you are reading signed? Don't go to the effective date, please.
2019 contract.
No, please.
I'm coming.
The new contract.
No, please.
When was it signed?
The new contract, in terms of signature, was signed in November 2024. So I'm coming.
Wait. Oh, sir, please. I'm asking the question. Okay. So the answer is so that at least we would all be on the same page. It was signed in November 2024 for the period of 2024, right?
Right.
And when did the year 2024 end?
2024 ends in December 2024.
So from the date it was signed to the year end, how many months?
1 month.
So how do you expect, in all fairness, that the auditors should use that contract that was even signed in November to do an audit for the year of 11 months ahead, that there was no contract, that you previously had a contract with them that you wanted to extend? Weren't they in the right mood to use the old contract which was existing to even do the audit if it were you? Weren't you receiving monies when the contract was not being signed?
Honorable Chair.
Please. Were you receiving monies in the year of 2024 for service of the work done?
Yes, because
when there was no contract.
Because we delivered the service.
So simple. So in that same vein, on what basis were you delivering the service when the contract was not signed?
The contract was not signed, but the effective date.
No, wait. The contract was not signed. So on what basis were you receiving monies in 2024?
On the basis of delivering of service.
So on what delivery of service were you doing when the contract was not signed?
Because
it was based on the old contract.
Honorable Chair, what happens is that,
you see, please.
Can
These questions are yes or no. And seriously, can
I respond, please?
Please respond to the questions I asked. Do you know why? You are just trying to walk around the things that we are discussing. Look, wait. You claim that you have a contract that was signed in November for a year in 2024, and the auditors are telling you that based on the monies you were receiving in 2024, the contract will stipulate that this and that needed to be provided, and they were not provided. You have an issue with it because you signed the contract in November, and the effective date was 11 months before that there was no contract, but we were receiving monies. On what basis were you receiving the monies? On a contract that had not been signed, or the previous contract that was existing that you wanted to extend the contract?
Honorable Chair, respectfully, if we were to use the explanation Honorable has given, 2019 contract was signed 22 months after the effective date. Before this contract was signed, I'm talking about 2019, it was signed 22 months. This one was signed 11 months.
Mr.
I'm coming.
Mr.
Can I explain, Honorable?
So are you saying that is right?
Can I explain?
No, wait. You've not signed a contract. You are receiving money. You are now telling me a contract was signed 22 months after delivery of services. And based on that, when this is signed 11 months after, there's no problem.
Honorable Chair, when it comes to contracts, I'm not a lawyer, but I believe that agreement, the agreement has effective dates. And once the parties sign the contract, the effective date is valid. And
look,
that is what has
when you want to speak to these matters, you can sign the contract today, but you presume the effective date to be 6 months after, so that preparatory works can be done. But you cannot tell me that the effective date can be, you backdate it, that you signed the contract in November, but the effective date is 1st of January of that same year. Why? Why? Even in this country, we don't make laws that are retrospective. We don't. We don't make retrospective laws. The day the laws are passed, that is when the laws start to be implemented. And you tell us you signed the contract 11 months.
Honorable Chair, respectfully, the kind of service we deliver require us not to stop the work, because it has public health implications.
No. That is even wrong with it.
No. Can I explain?
No, hold on, please. Maybe
my
question.
My question. Given opportunity to explain.
Order here, please. Please. Let's have some order.
So before the old contract expires, the parties meet and agree on the terms for the new contract. Signatures might delay, but the work will still have to be done. And so, even though the signatures, the signing of the contract delayed, they had already agreed to the new contract even before the old one expired.
Doc, let me help you here. Doc, you are taking all the benefits accruing from the old contract, the 2019 contract. Is that not the case? Because you were being paid for it. So what is wrong with the auditors also using the same contract, the 2029 contract, to judge you?
Honorable Chair, just to add to what Dr. Dente has said, I think 2 years ago when we met in one of these hearings, the issue came up that we should move from the provision of the equipment to provision of services. What that meant was that internally, in our approach to the work, we were looking at this provision of services. This was 2 years ago, from 2023 coming into 2024. So throughout the whole of 2024, we were working on this provision of services. Obviously, the contract couldn't have been signed. Sometimes some of these engagements take some time. But in the midst of this, even after 2024, in the specific case of Dwaboso, we have evidence of provision. For example, the containers that were provided, that were flagged in the report. We have evidence of providing 2 of those containers to Dwaboso. In addition to that, some of you may have seen the 2025 skip tracks that we imported and distributed. At the time we were distributing this equipment, the concept of working zonally, so that if, for example, a particular district has one equipment track broken down, we could dispatch the zonal equipment to that place. We have started implementing that. So I'm sure honorable members here will attest to the fact that in Dwaboso, I have personally visited Dwaboso and saw that one of our 2025 equipment that had been delivered there. So it's not as if we want to run away from the responsibility. As we've always said, providing this equipment permits us to provide efficient services. So it is in our interest. In some of the cases, for example, if we don't have containers, it costs us more to even do the work. So we have internally tried as much as possible to provide these containers. So it's not as if we shied away from that. There has been some provisions for the truck and the containers.
Thank you very much. But my question still remains. Doc, so what was the scope we were working within from 2019 when the contract expired to when the new contract was signed? What was the guiding principle? What was the scope? What were you guided with in providing the service to the district?
We're guided by the fact that we have to deliver effective service using the necessary tools, which are the containers and
where did you get that information from? Was it not part of the stipulation or the whatever provisions in the contract, the expired contract? Is it not from the expired contract? Whatever you are telling us now, is it not coming from the expired contract?
Honorable Chair, unfortunately, no, it didn't come from the contract. Because like we said, when we met in 2023, it was clearly stated, it was clearly agreed, because the same situation arose, and it was agreed. It wasn't proposed by the auditors. This was something we mentioned, and the chairman accepted that going forward, the contract should spell out that we are supposed to deliver service and not to deliver the tools for the trade.
But hold on, please. But you are just using different language. You are the tools are not the same tools you were using before.
Honorable Chair, respectfully, the tools do not belong to the assembly. The tools belong to Zoom Lion, be it containers or trucks. So they are the tools we use to conduct the work. So the way it is captured is it's looking as though the trucks and the containers belong to the assembly, and so once they are not provided, the work has not been done. But it is our tools. So whenever we are challenged and there is a track breakdown, what we do is that we deploy available track from neighboring districts so that the work can get done.
So I've heard you, but my challenge is that we have both the Tëårs and the rest here with the same problem. So let's try to make progress. Okay. This one, non-supply of 4 refuse containers, whether it's tools for the service or supply to the assembly or belongs to the assembly, they are saying that you did not supply. 3 containers were damaged, you did not replace them. 1 truck was broken down, you didn't service it. That's the the problem you're having now. So it's not about you, whatever. So that's what we need to explain so that we make progress, please.
Honorable Chair, we have, as we speak, we have about 150 containers that we are molding. As at the last audit hearing here, we supplied 300 containers nationwide. As we speak, we are molding 150. So any shortage anywhere that we find, we believe we will be able to supply and do the work. But it still stands to reason that the containers and then the trucks still remain the property of Zoom Lion as our tools for trade. And wherever we are challenged, and the challenge may happen anyway, because these are trucks, these are equipment, they can break down anytime. Whenever it breaks down, as an effective deliverer of the service, we make sure we deploy from wherever we can to ensure the work gets done. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, thank you very much. Doc, it also stands to reason that when you were going for the contract, looking at the magnitude of work in each district, you tell the district chief executive and the management that for your district, we are bringing you 5 trucks, 10 skips. So if you don't supply that number, you cannot come and sit here to tell us that it stands to reason that those machines and those skips are not for the assembly, but they are your work tools. Why then would you put those into your contract? Because that is the effectiveness of how you'll be able to perform. So if you did not produce those numbers of your equipment that you told them that you were bringing, you cannot come and sit here to tell us that it stands to reason that those are your work tools and therefore not the property of the assembly. We are not here telling you they are the property of the assembly first and foremost. We are saying that in the contract, you told the assembly that you provide them with 5 skips. You did not. Some got broken down, you did not replace them. You told them you bring them 3 trucks, they said you did not. That is what we are speaking to. But if you tell us that it stands to reason that we should know that those are not the properties of the assembly by your work tools, that cannot be acceptable.
Respectfully, thank you. I am not saying that that's what you have to accept. I'm just laying it bare, our responsibility, which is delivery of the service using the tools that we think are appropriate. That is what the contract says. And that is exactly what we have been doing. And indeed, we have always made sure we deliver the service. Where even if the tools are not available, we deploy from other sources to make sure the service is delivered, because that is the foundation of the contract, delivery of the service. And that's what we have always done and will continue to do. However, as I have said already, we'll continue to ensure we have adequate resources, including the containers and the trucks. 150 containers are now being molded. We will supply to wherever there are gaps to ensure that we don't have to probably even deploy from other locations. Thank you, Honorable.
Auditors come in and then Honorable Edema.
Mr. Chairman, the difficulty that we have is this. We did not go to Zoom Lion to conduct any audits there. They have never responded to issues that we raised. We audited an assembly which was a party to that contract. They gave us the contract, we looked at it, we raised issues, they responded, they did not say that the contract was not existent and all that. So why would somebody come from outside and tell us that what we did was wrong? We cannot accept that. The auditee himself is here. They responded to all the issues. We had entrance, exit meeting with them. We gave them 30 days to respond to our observations. The final management letter, they responded to them. And a report was generated and sent to Parliament. You were not a party to that. Why would you come and rubbish what we have done? It's untenable, Mr. Chairman, to say the least. Thank you.
Respectfully, Honorable Chair, I'm here to protect my company, to defend my company. I'm here to defend my company.
Respectfully, Doctor.
Respectfully.
We are here to do what?
No, I'm saying...
I'm saying we here, what are we here to do?
Yeah.
We are also here to protect the public purse. Sure. So that if there's anything that is hindering that protection, we call it out and come up with reforms that will help us protect the public purse. And that is why we are here. From the initial stage, I told you, you cannot state that the auditors based their audits on the wrong contract. That is a no-go area. That's a non-starter because that cannot be correct. We have pointed out the reasons why we raised those questions to you. And I think we have all come to an agreement that you ought to do your part to discharge your mandate. And government also will have to do its part to make sure we protect the public purse, at the same time pay for what we consume or pay for the services that you render to government. I think it should end there. But the auditors have a right to state that your initial comments that they base their audits on a wrong premise or a wrong agreement. I mean, they have the right to do that because clearly they did not, the audit was not with you. The audit was with an assembly in which you provide services to. So whether you shrug your shoulders or you don't shrug your shoulders, that is the fact. They did not base their agreements, the audits on a wrong agreement. It is clear. We have put it out here and we want to move forward. Make progress, bring about efficiency in the discharge of your duties. Government also does same, and then we all protect the public purse because at the end of the day, whether it's a private company or a public company, we all have a country to run.
Okay.
Thank you.
Finance officer, you have time now for you to go and bring what we requested, which is in your car. And so you can go and bring it now. Okay, Honorable Edamagbana.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the opportunity. Mr. Chairman, listening to the gentleman from Zoom Lion, there is one point that I would want to humbly make. The first one is that we are not conducting an audit of the performance in terms of whether or not you are providing the service. You signed a contract with the assembly. Based on the contract, you had there were certain responsibilities on you, which includes supplying those equipments to the assembly. Based on that, you have received payment, and in response to Honorable Akwesi Kunedu, you considered that you were paid even when the contract had expired. Now, if the contract compels you to supply the assembly with some equipment which you failed to do but received payment for, and we are raising issues with it, respectfully, you cannot be telling the committee that you are delivering the service. And so whether or not you supplied the equipment which in your views belongs to your company, that does not matter. But the payment or the rates based on which you are paid because of those items in the contract. So if you did not supply those items, you did not replace them, and it appears to be a national issue, internally, similar issues with other assemblies, Mr. Chair, I think that the committee should recommend a refund of some payments that were made to them back to the assemblies. Because if I sign a contract with you and I tell you that I will supply you these particular items, whether I have delivered a service or not, as long as I fail to meet all the obligations in the contract, you should be able to refund some monies that have been paid to you by the assemblies. Thank you.
Honorable Chair, can I respond, please? Can I? Because I wanted to.
You see, the bottom line is this. From what the auditors were saying, they were using the existing contract that was there. And in the old contract, it's stated how many containers they were supposed to have, how many trucks. So this is where I was expecting that the answer would be, oh, in the old contract, this is what was stipulated in the contract, this is what we're supposed to provide. But now the new contract does not specify that. We are not going by the new contract. Yet, we are going by the old contract. So those are the questions that we need to answer. But, Jaboso, you've stayed here for more than an hour and a half.
Okay, so were you making payment to Zoom Lion Ghana for these services?
In fact, since I assume office, no payment has been made. Previous payments, I cannot speak to that. But since I assume office, they are here. I have not made any payment to Zoom Lion Ghana Limited.
This is 2024 audit. So you said you cannot speak to that. You were doing very well before this question. You were answering all the questions from 2024. So why are you saying that you cannot speak to that? Because
in fact, Mr. Chair, I didn't say I can't speak to that. As at that time, as far as I'm aware, those monies were paid from Accra. It wasn't paid from the district, as now His Excellency has given the power to us.
Yes, I understand that, but we're not giving any indication at all whether or not money that was allocated to you, part of it has been paid, has been given to Zoom Lion to offset whatever agreement we have with them.
Not that I'm aware of.
So this question you answered, was it in relation to the non-supply of the 3 refuse containers or the damage of the containers?
Damage, non-supply together.
All of them?
Yes, as far as I'm aware.
Okay, Zoom Lion is here, but let me read the paragraph of the auditor's report. Paragraph 747. We were unable to quantify the value of equipment not delivered and the services not rendered in the agreement, as the deliverables were not individually priced. Meaning that whatever money we paid to Zoom Lion, we didn't get any value for it because 1, the containers were not supplied, 2, the damaged truck was not repaired, and the damaged containers were also not repaired. So Zoom Lion is saying, Madam Chair, Mr. Chair, maybe you may want them to respond to that.
Yes, I would ask Zoom Lion to respond to it because they are here. But before that, have you seen a contract between your district and Zoom Lion?
The previous one, yes, but as to speak.
What was the date on that contract?
Off head, it will be very difficult to mention.
It will be very difficult.
Yes.
Okay. Now
but there was something like that before I came to
I'm sorry?
I said, yes, there was something like that before I came to the but off head date.
Yes, there was a contract.
I may be wrong.
Nobody signs those contracts in Accra. You, the districts, you sign the contracts. Don't you?
Yes, I'm aware of that.
And as soon as you sign the contract, you don't know where the contract is. Now, let me ask Zoom Lion to comment.
Honorable Chair, by way of introduction, my name is Dr. Francis Dente, Chief Internal Auditor, Jospon Group.
I'm Dr. Stephen Yeboah. I'm the Group Head for Internal Control, Jospon Group.
Honorable Chair, I'm Frederick Manti, the Regional Coordinator, Question of.
Honorable Chair, respectfully, Zoom Lion has a contract with the Assembly with effective date being the 3rd of January 2024 for 5 years. So this contract ends on the 2nd day of January 2028. 2029, I'm sorry. Now, for 5 years. From reading from the report of the auditors, we believe that this contract was not the basis for the audit. The basis for the audit was, and given that the contract spells out all the benchmarks. Once a wrong contract has been used to conduct the audit, we do not believe that the findings are right. In fact, when you look at the current...
Lion, respectfully, did you say that the auditors used a wrong contract to come out with this report?
Yes, the contract...
Why do you say so, please?
Because the contract that they used, Honorable Chair, respectfully, is that of 2019, effective date 2nd day of January 2019, which expired on the 1st day of January 2024. And subsequent to that, a new contract was signed between Zoom Lion and the Assembly, dated with the effective date being 3rd of January 2024. So with respect to the audit of 2024, which respectfully was done in 2025, the contract that was supposed to have been used was the 2024 contract.
Did you find out from them whether they used the 2019 contracts or the contract dated January 2024? Auditors, you are here. Respectfully, can you clarify whether you used the expired contract as Zoom Lion is claiming, or the contract dated January, did you say January 3rd, 2024?
January 3rd, 2024, respectfully.
Honorable Chair, the contract that was handed over to the auditors at the time was the basis for the audit. Now, if you quite remember, this issue came up during our previous sittings. And as part of the contract, they were supposed to provide these materials and equipments for managing the waste as far as the districts are concerned. Now, the chairman advised at the time that in order for them to do their work and for auditors not to be citing some of these equipments and all those things as not being provided and they are damaged and all that, they should concentrate on couching out a contract that will focus on providing waste management services in the various districts. So when we did the 2024 audit, the contract that was existing was a 2019 contract that they signed. Now, I'm sure that after that audit, a new contract was signed. But that contract, though, when you look at it, I can send you a copy for you to look at it. The contract was actually signed towards the end of the year 2024. It was around end of November that the Assembly started signing those contracts.
Yes,
so
it was dated 3rd January 2024.
Yeah, so when you look at the preamble, the preamble states the fact that the contract, is in effect from January 2024, but it was actually signed by the various assemblies getting to the end of the year, November 2024.
So say, clearly, even using the previous contracts, these infractions were cited. You failed to deliver on the previous contracts. So you cannot conveniently sit here and say that they used the wrong contract. They are saying that this transpired somewhere in 2023 and then they had to carry it forward. And so even in the previous contracts, you failed to deliver on the terms of the contract. That is what the auditors are saying. And that is why it was my colleagues who were in the previous Public Accounts Committee, the ranking is here, Honorable Akwesi Kunedu is here. These things came up in the previous sitting and it was brought to your attention. So you cannot say that first and foremost, their report is based on a wrong contract, so it doesn't hold. These were infractions that you were cited on when that previous contract existed. That is what the auditors just told us.
Honorable Chair, respectfully, if we heard the auditor right, this thing was debated in I think 2 years ago when we had the Public Accounts Committee, and it was settled that Zoom Lion's work is the service delivery and not supply of.
Well, but what the auditors cited you for are what is in the contract, unless you are telling us the auditors based their reports on something different. But what they are saying right here is that they cited these infractions based on the contract that was given to them. And in that contract, auditors, can you please repeat it? Maybe once you repeat it, as the accounts will say, yes. So wait, as you hit it hard, as you repeat it, and we all get a better understanding of what you want to carry across. Thank you.
Yeah, so Honorable Chair, as I indicated earlier, we audited based on the contract that was existing at the time. And in that contract, they were supposed to provide these items